Hello guys, and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a build, a budget build in specific using second-hand parts. Yes, I do occasionally buy second-hand parts, things that I need such as GPUs, processors or motherboards, pretty much anything that I would need given that it's priced reasonably and in good working order. But I haven't really done a full system build using such parts, so this will be an interesting one for me. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wait for Ryzen, it's just a fart away now. Save that money instead, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. We'll get to that. I may also be doing a budget Ryzen build somewhere in the future once it's fully come out, or it may already be out while you're watching this video, so definitely stay tuned for that. A reason why I'm doing this build is for me to see what I can gather from around where I live, namely Montreal, Canada. Even anything here is from anywhere from 10 to 15% more expensive than the US. Don't quote me on that, I may be wrong. I'm interested to see what hardware I can get or I can gather to play some of the latest games at 1080p at least while keeping the budget on the check. So firstly was the hunt for the parts. Now it took me 2 weeks to gather all the parts that I needed. I could have extended that a bit more and waited for better deals, but I didn't want to delay this build some more. It's pretty much about timing now, getting the right deals at the right time. You may have locked on what you think is a good deal, but you check the other day or the next day and there's a better one, so there's that bummer. Now anyways, let's get to the parts. Now for the motherboard, we have here a Gigabyte Z77 HD3. Packs decent features such as dual BIOS, USB 3.0 and PCIe Gen 3, and overclocking as well, which brings us to our processor. We have here an i5 3350P. Yep, all the way to Ivy Bridge. It's quad core with a base frequency of 3.1 GHz and turbos to 3.3, and it should be sufficient, I hope, for the games that we are aiming for. It sucks that I couldn't find a Gskill CPU to go with the Z77 board. I tried finding one, but everything was too damned overpriced, so yes, this will have to do for now until I can find a more capable processor and just slap it in afterwards. Now for our RAM, 8GB kit of Gskill Ripjaws at 1600 MHz. And the price for the three all set me back a solid 140 Canadian dollars. That's less than 110 US, so not bad for the combo that it is. Yes, it's a bit dirty and dusty, but nothing a good cleaning can't handle. And for our graphics card, probably the star of this build, an EVGA GTX 770, the 2GB version, which I got for, ready for this, 50 Canadian dollars. Yes, that's $50. Now that's less than $40 US. As soon as I saw it, I ran for my life went to pick it up in the middle of a snowstorm. Was it worth it? You tell me. Well, the benches will tell us. Now for our storage, another good deal that I got, an Adata 240GB SSD for $65. Slightly used and still looks almost brand new to me. I chose to go with an SSD this time for things to be a bit snappier. I do have a 500GB WD Blue drive that I will be using for all the games that I will be installing, so there's that. Now for our case, probably my least favorite on this build, I have found this old Zalman Z9. It's pretty much beat up and dirty when I first got it. I wanted to film the whole process of me cleaning it, but damn, it was way too much. I had to power spray this sucker to get all the nasty gunky dust out of it. No screws or anything. It has two fans, one of which is a Molex. It's missing an expansion bay cover, which I'm guessing housed an optical drive beforehand. I'm surprised I even paid $10 for this, but I needed it so badly and I was pressed for time and I had to grab it. And for our power supply, now this I had to make an exemption. Now I did go for a brand new power supply. Now reason being, I do have bad experiences when it came to buying used ones. I didn't want to risk it again and destroy this whole build, which brings me to my point. Never ever cheap out on your power supply. Now it's up to you on how you want to spend your money on a budget build such as this, but just putting it out there. But if you are really in the need and have no choice but to buy used power supplies, just have it tested and see for yourself and have a thorough look just so you avoid any mishaps. Anyways, we have here an EVGA 600 watt bronze power supply. Kind of an overkill, but I did buy this way back Cyber Monday for $45. I just thought it was a good deal back then and thought I'd have it as a spare. And what do you know, I finally found a use for it. And there we go with all of the parts. Now for just over 300 Canadian dollars or roughly 230 US, I was able to put this build together. I enjoyed this quick time lapse of the build process. On a side note, I did replace the stock cooler with a better one. I just couldn't bear the noise it was making during testing, and for reference, that is a Deepcool Gamax 400 cooler I have as a spare. Now on to the good stuff, the benchmarks. Now let's see how this thing actually performs in some of the latest games. All these games are run at 1080p with the latest Kepler drivers for the GTX 770. This card is about 4 years old now and still performs decently close with today's budget cards such as the RX 460 and GTX 1050. Now first off, Grand Theft Auto 5. With a mixture of high and very high settings in-game, it was easy to hit the 60 frames per second barrier. Occasional dips to the high 50s, but overall playable, averaging 63 frames per second. Now next off is Witcher 3, an insanely GPU demanding game and kind of shows the age of this card. On medium settings with Hairworks disabled, we were pulling 55 frames per second on average, while setting it to high gives us a 42 frames per second average. Next is Doom 2016, a beautifully optimized game. Now I went ahead and put the settings to Ultra and it was averaging around 49 frames per second. Now this would easily go to the high 60s just by setting it to high or medium settings. And lastly, Battlefield 1. Requiring all the power from both CPU and GPU, this game is also quite demanding. I've set it all the way to Ultra and we were hitting 54 frames per second in average, with occasional dips to the low 40s. Again, we can just lower the settings to high or medium to get a bit more frames. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the result of this experiment, so to speak. For just over 300 Canadian dollars, I'm able to play some of the latest games at somewhere to medium to high settings. I can tweak the settings in-game or overclock the GPU to squeeze a bit more frames out of it, or down the line get an overclockable processor for cheap to squeeze a bit more performance out of it. Anyways guys, I hope you liked this video and help some of you guys who are doing these kinds of budget builds. If you like this video, feel free to hit that like button right there, and if you are in for more content such as this, feel free to hit that subscribe button right there. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you later.